And welcome back. Yes, and there's some more games on this afternoon, and we'll cover those right now. Of course, the big game on out at the West Oval last night. Geelong West took on Karaya. For all accounts, absolutely a ripper game, but that's past history. We're going to talk about the matches on this afternoon. And the roads lead out to Footrot Flats this afternoon. The Anarchy Roos, well, they didn't quite come to the party last week, but they've definitely improved under the Heap Darryl Bissett. They take on one of the premiership favourites, the Inverleigh Hawks. How do you reckon they'll go, Dale?
Well, Dick, I suppose if you had to step back 2 weeks ago and asked me, I would have said Inverleigh quite easily. But look, on the performance they put up Saturday, you'd have to give them some show because they're playing at home. They like to play out there. They've always been a tough physical side, and that might just take that little bit of run away from Inverleigh. If they can contain Forbes and Big Owen Lewis at full forward, and maybe draw up the ball getting into them through Toby Prendergast and Quinn Livin and those guys through the centre of the ground, and Hybens gives them that first use through the ruck. And they've also got, then you can look at Trotter and last year's best and fairest winner. So they've got some great youth and experience at Inverleigh now. I reckon it's going to be a great contest. I think Inverleigh will get over the top of them, but I reckon it's going to be a mighty close game.
Always a hard nut to crack out there at the Footrot Flats, Jake. Anarchy play very, very well out there. They love the ground, and it's a great atmosphere. It really is country footy at its best. Do you give Inverleigh a chance of knocking them off? Do you think Anarchy might have a show?
Oh, I suppose you can't write them off, but as Dale said, you'd think Inverleigh would win this. There's big things expected from them this year, and I think they'd be pretty disappointed if they couldn't get the job done today against Anarchy, who, even though they played very, very well from all reports against the reigning premiers last week, East Geelong, you just think that Inverleigh probably have too much class for Anarchy to get over the line. So I'll definitely be tipping Inverleigh, I think.
Fair enough. And the other game this afternoon, well, this was a toss-up for the match of the day, I can tell you. The Winchelsea Blues, have they found some form and got everyone excited around GDFL circles at the moment? They take on obviously probably the premiership favourite, East Geelong, last year's winners of the 2009 flag. Out at Winchelsea, and of course, by all accounts, the Winchelsea Blues are fired up. Paul Price has got him fired up. He's in his second week as coach and probably his last week, but he'd want to make his record 100% intact, Jake.
Yeah, he would. I suppose they're not too dissimilar to Freo in the AFL, I guess. They've come by a bit of a surprise so far, and I reckon they'd be really up for this game today. They'll really, really want to get the job done against East Geelong, but I know for a fact that East Geelong have put a bit of work into this game after the surprise from last week, so I think that they'll have them covered. But I suppose the inclusions of their captain Adam Scrubblak and Robbie Chamberlain, who both missed last week due to suspension from last year's grand final, you'd think they're pretty handy inclusions for a East Geelong side who are pretty dangerous as it is. So Winchelsea will definitely throw everything at. They'll throw the kitchen sink at East Geelong today, but I just think East Geelong will probably be a bit too strong come the final siren.
Dale, this could go either way, couldn't it? I mean, these are two very accomplished sides.
Yeah, look, I think it's been the case, Dick, and from last week you'd think that Winchelsea would have that full of confidence, and Pricey's obviously got them going pretty well, but I suppose that all comes down to the coach over pre-season getting them fairly fit. Now, it'll depend on how much work that East Geelong have done, because if they come into the game thinking that they're going to outrun this group, they've got another thing coming, because Andrew Leake, as he's been away and for a couple of years, I think he's down at Forest Way and come back. He was a great link player through the middle of the ground. Stevie Wainwright sort of got himself going late in the contest when they needed him to. And you look at blokes like Warland also, who can be big impact players in this game. Look, it's a big task when you've got to cover all those blokes at East Geelong, but look, it'll be a great contest. At home, the Blues will be full of confidence going in. East Geelong, from mine, just because of that, the Scrubblak factor coming back into that side, I think he's worth 2 or 3 to kick, and then also creates another 3 or 4. So if they've got someone that can go down and play on him, they might be a chance.
Yeah, should be a very good game indeed, no doubt about that. And don't sell Pricey too short either, because I mean, even though the coach did a great job pre-season, it must have been a very inspirational speech by Paul Price at 3/4 time, and of course he was a North Geelong Premiership player. So I just mentioned that for anyone who's out there just wondering what I'm talking
just
about.
That one,
he's also open to weekly offers to go coaching as well. So he said after the game,
good?
"Oh well, why not? Why not have him in there for a couple of weeks? It'd be all right if someone else to listen to." But
might be some nervous coaches out there if they lose this weekend, Smithy. You never know. Out at Victoria Park, and also what a wonderful name for a football ground. Bannockburn Tigers. They had started off the season with a good win, and they take on Belpo, still shell-shocked by the Winchelsea Blues last week. And I guess, Dale, the Panthers would be looking to make amends for last week's disaster.
Yeah, look, it'll be interesting to see what they do this week. Sean Lewis got injured early in the game, and that probably took away a little bit of their run and their grunt through the middle of the ground, and he's a good use of the ball. But Robbie Law was tremendous. I thought he used the ball. He's not a long kick of the ball, but every time he gets it, if he had 20 touches Saturday, I reckon 20 of them went to his teammates. So they're the type of blokes I like in my side. They've got enough there with Langsworth through the middle of the ground. Bannockburn, Possibly might have Matthew Lewis come back in. There's Ross Dillon possibly to come back in, Alistair Woods to come back in. But again, after having done what they did to Belmont Lions last week, it's going to be hard to get those players in who haven't done a lot of pre-season because of work commitments and cricket and obviously like that. Like Bannockburn, I'll stay loyal to the Tigers. I'd like to see them win. I've had a bit of association with both these clubs. But out at Bannockburn, I think they might just hold sway in a pretty tight contest.
The Tigers or the Panthers, Jake?
Yeah, it's a funny one. I suppose, as we said with the Anarchy game, if you'd asked us 2 weeks ago, you would have thought that Belpo still would have had Bannockburn covered pretty comfortably with the off-season recruits and losses. But Bannockburn were fantastic last week. I suppose Belmont Lions probably a bit hard to read into because they've obviously had their issues over the summer. But I think Belpo still will get the job done. As we said, they'll be looking for blood after last week. They'll be absolutely furious. Brent Gergich would be really, really disappointed that his troops couldn't get over the line and hang on to that lead that they had at three-quarter time. So I expect it'll be a pretty good game, but I'm going to tip Belpo still. The
thing too, Dick, you've got Wade Bayer that might come back into that side, Carter, and we're not too sure whether he's actually gone away or not. And also Holzfind was another one that didn't play on Saturday. Yeah. They're the two blokes for me that would bring that extra pace that Belpo still would need. So be interesting just to see where they're at this stage.
Okay, the big one out at Osborne Park, the renaming of the actual football ground, the Keith Barclay Oval, in of course tribute to the great Keith Barclay, who spent more than 50 years as a committee man, player, and an absolute servant of the club, and fantastic indeed. And I've got to mention the fact that netball, the A grade, the Belmont Lions, the terrible Timboon Terrors, Karuna and Shani De Jong will be playing for the Belmont Lions. So a tip for the North Geelong girls. Be careful, these girls are good. What do you reckon, Jake? Do you reckon North Geelong can bounce back after a bit of a dismal start last week against the boys at the Duck Pond?
Yes, for your sake, I think they'll get the job done today. As we just alluded to, Belmont will probably struggle this year, and North Geelong, they'll be thereabouts. I don't know if they'll make finals. They're every chance to, Dick, so don't lose faith. But you'd think they get the job done pretty comfortably over Belmont, who, as I said, will probably struggle this year.
Any chance for the Magpies to re-attain for last week, or can the Belmont Lions cause an upset, Dale?
I think North Geelong at home will be too strong, but you mentioned Hutchison coming back. Dick, where has he been? Someone said he was going to South Warrnambool at one stage, but...
looks like he's back.
He's back?
Yeah,
that's good news for the Magpies.
Well, they'd be good because, as I said, they've got the young Lansbury Lowe played senior football last week, and he's a great footballer from under 18 level last year, and obviously Luke Parker's had a bit of a taste over recent years. Look, as I said, the bunch of kids you've got coming through both now and later on will be very good. I think North Geelong too strong at home.
Fair enough. Well, go to Maggie's this afternoon. That's it for another show. Jake, have a great afternoon.
Yes, thanks, Dick. Looking forward to getting into it again.
Fantastic, Dale. You've had a lovely afternoon as well, and I know you'll be straight into that half-time spread.
Mate, if you can lock them out like they did at Belpost Hill last week, there was a plentiful of a food there last week. It was unbelievable.
And a quick cheerio. Happy birthday to Michelle Winkle, my son's partner in crime, and also my future daughter-in-law, I hope, Michelle Winkle from Ray White Real Estate. Happy birthday, Michelle. Have a great night tonight with the family at Mambo Restaurant. It should be fantastic. Get in early, folks, because I'm going there. Have a great week in footy. Great afternoon. We'll see you all again next week. Bye for now.